Hello, I'm Lyn Carlson with Choose Grace International. Welcome. Last week we talked about well-being and about David's prayer about creating a pure heart. And a pure heart, what that would feel like in us today. Today we're going to be talking about fears. Fears of facing our past, fears of something we did or something we did not do, and just fears of the future, just fears in general. When Adam and Eve sinned, they felt shame, and they also had fear. They feared God, and they ran away from God. And that's what we do when we have fears that actually turn into shame. So I want to talk about today about our fears of abortion and our fears about even wanting to even deal with our fears. And I was reading in a book written by Reverend Billy Graham, and he says, in a portion of his book, he said, an old Scottish clergyman said, the devil has two lies, which he uses at two different stages. And he said, before we commit a sin, he tells us that one little sin is a trifle and that we can easily recover ourselves again. And then the second lie is that after we have sinned, he tells us it is hopeless. We are given over to our sin and we shouldn't attempt to rise. And both are terrible lies. And God does not see it as a trifle. He sees it as a thing of great value and of great importance, our sin. And we feel the same way about our sin, and that's where our shame comes from. And so let's talk about what that old clergyman said. Before we commit a sin, he tells us it's one little sin, doesn't matter. It's a trifle, and we can easily recover ourselves again. When I was pregnant, I was so full of fear of the future, fear of what will happen to me, fear of just being ostracized from the community. I know my dad had said if I ever got pregnant, he would kick me out of the house. I feared how I could ever even make it financially. I feared also how I would be viewed socially. My friends, I didn't want to be the pregnant cheerleader that everybody made fun of. So when I went to get an abortion, it was, it's simple, easy, safe. You can go home and never have to worry about it again. Your parents will never have to know, and life will be back to normal. You can go home and never have to think about that again. Well, friend, that's what we call denial. And denial will eat us up inside. And so I thought, yeah, that sounds right. Just as this old clergyman said, it's just simple, safe, and easy. And then after the abortion, I was changed. And when I left the abortion clinic, I said, I just knew something inside of me had changed, and I'm never going to be the same again. But I vowed to not ever have to think about it again like they told me. Well, 7 years later, I saw the ultrasound. I've shared my story about that and saw a baby with hand, feet, legs, and I had trauma because I saw the baby. And so the second lie is after we sinned, after I realized the magnitude of what I had allowed happen, I did feel like it was hopeless. And I was given over to that sin, over to the shame, where I was fearful to even look at that. I was fearing God. I felt like that God could never forgive me. I was so afraid to even tell anybody, even my husband, to admit about all the emotions that were stirring inside of me. And so I know that the people that I have had come in contact with have those same fears. In Isaiah 41:10, though, do you know the Bible says that mentions fear, I think, over 500 times in the Bible. So it's something we really should pay attention to. In Isaiah 41:10 is such a beautiful verse. It says, and this is from God speaking to us. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. You see, our fear keeps us from going to Him. And He says, I will strengthen you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. Friend, He knew that we were going to sin. He knew about our abortions even before we did. And yet His grace covers all. So the message for today is just fear not, for God is with us. And He loves us and He knows what we did. And nothing can separate us from His love. Not even if we had one abortion or if we had 50 abortions. It's all covered by His grace through Jesus Christ. Next week, we're going to be talking about transgressions, and I hope you join us. Thank you, and may God bless your week.